Hello, pen people. I'm here to talk to you about some more pens and going alphabetically. I'm still in the A's, and these are both pens made by or for a company called ASA Pens out of India, and that's ASA. They have a website where you can purchase these. I bought these quite some time ago, all the way back in early 2017. Well, I guess it's not terribly long ago, but anyway, I was able to purchase them at a pretty good price. I paid a bit less than you pay for them now, but they are still quite affordable for large handmade pens. The two models we have here are the Galactic and the Nauka. They're both large pens, as you can see. It's hard to kind of tell just by looking at them here and next to my hands, but as you can see with a Safari next to them, they dwarf the Safari and, of course, the Pilot Metro, which are two very common pens. You think about large pens like these, you think of, well, maybe a Mont Blanc 149. No, they dwarf the 149 as well. These are very large pens. However, they are not the largest pens you can get made in India. I have a Gamma Supreme, which is even bigger than that, and the Guider Super Zimbo, which is even bigger. It's like a slightly larger, well, it's the girth of it is kind of astounding on the Guider, but the Guider is a larger pen than the ASA pen. Now, in an earlier video, I was talking about another Indian pen. I think it was the Airmare Quality pen. And I said that this was the Super Zimbo because you can totally see the resemblance, but it wasn't. It was the ASA pen that I was using then. But anyway, the Zimbo's a beast. Anyway, but we're talking about these pens today. Now, I purchased these pens some time ago. Like I said, I've used them quite a bit. As a first amongst all of my pens, and it's not a good first, the ASA Nauka was the first pen I dropped, nib first into the ground, and destroyed the nib in it, which was terrible. I had no such bad luck with this one. I'm fairly certain that the Galactic is made for ASA by Gamma. It is so similar to some Gamma pens I've seen that it's hard for me to believe that it isn't made by them. Anyway, and it has a really good nib. It's marked ASA there, and it's a very smooth medium nib. This is a very wet writing pen. Nice threads on that. Now, the Nauka is kind of an interesting thing. I love the form factor of this. It's very, very sleek, torpedo-like. The threads are at the very end here, and both pens have an ebonite feed, as you can see here. This one has a Gamma nib because, like I said, I destroyed the nib that it came with. The nib it came with was nearly identical to the one on there. It was an ASA nib. But this Gamma nib seemed to do the job as well. I don't know why we're not focusing here, but anyway. They're number 6 nibs. You can interchange them with other number 6 nibs. I've used Jinhao's. I've used other Indian-made nibs like FPR, Canwrite, and others. As long as they're a number 6 size, they tend to fit on these. This one is 100% ebonite. The only thing that isn't ebonite in this pen is the clip and the nib. The one thing that's kind of fun about this one is that you can't really tell. I mean, you can in this light, but just because you can kind of see that hairline right there, but believe me, you can see it better on the camera than you can in real life. This is they're both eyedropper pens, but the Nauka, it splits kind of in the middle, right there in the middle, and when you fill it and you close it, you can't feel it at all. It's very, very, very smooth. It's a brushed ebonite. If you purchase one of these right now, the ASA Galactic is going for about $45, and the Nauka is going for $57. Now, the Nauka used to be cheaper than that, but it's gone up because they are adding JoWo nib units to it, which is a wonderful thing because you know how good those JoWo nib units are. And I think they might have offered or may offer at times the Galactic with JoWo. I just don't see it on their website right now. But ASA is a great company to work with. If you want to order one of these pens from them, by all means do so. And the fun thing about this one, the Nauka, they make it in several different colors of ebonite, and also they will make them out of acrylic, which makes them kind of fun. And I think I've even seen some demonstrator versions, some clear ones. Anyway, let's go ahead and ink these up and give them a trial run here. We'll start with the Galactic Large Pen, and again, these are eyedropper pens. Unscrew the section, long, very well threaded, and you can see that it's got a number 6 ebonite feed that goes all the way through. And let's see, let's pick an Indian ink here. How about, well, let's do this one. I haven't used this one for a while. This is Turquoise Blue from Daytone Inks out of India, conveniently in an eyedropper bottle. And again, even though you may not need to add silicone grease to the threads on these eyedropper pens, I always do as a measure of caution. This one holds an enormous amount of ink, much more than even that 69T that I did not measure. I did not count how many eyedroppers full this is taking. But you always want to fill an eyedropper pen clear to the threads because you don't want very much air in there. Let's do it. That's good. That's good right there. Okay. Some turquoise ink. And we'll, oops, come on, fumble fingers. Screw the section back on. There we go. A lot of threads is a bit more security too, keeps you from having leaks. Now I'll unscrew it a turn or two, and we'll turn it upside down over this rag, and we'll see if we can force some ink down into the feed. Oh yeah, you see how it kind of started going through there, kind of getting around the nib there. I may not have to prime this one very much. We'll go ahead and let that one sit for a moment while the ink settles in it. Isn't that fun? You can see the bubble moving in there. This is a fun pen. And let's pull out the Nauka. And the Nauka opens up a bit further down. It's got a very large section, but it still works the same way. But as you can probably guess, it's got a very long feed in there. It does not protrude down like the other one does, but it's not very far in there. Let's grab another Daytone. Let's try something a little different. How about, oh, where is it? Let's try emerald green. I haven't used this one for a while either. Sorry, I'm just checking to make sure there's nothing growing in that ink. There is not. And this one, because you cannot see, it's not a demonstrator, you kind of have to watch for when the ink gets close to the threads. That's 3 eyedroppers. 4. Yeah, it's a lot of ink. 5. I still can't see it in there. 6. There we go. Okay. About 5.5 eyedroppers full. That's quite a bit. And those of you who actually counted my eyedroppers full of ink in the Galactic, whatever that was, I'm sure it was more. All right, so we thread the section back on, and we'll do the same deal where we prime it. It's loose, so we'll tighten it down and force some ink into the nib. One thing that is kind of unfortunate about this one is that the threads on the inside of the section, and I believe it's the section itself, the threads are, I don't know what happened, but the threading is inconsistent, and so it gets a tight spot, and then it keeps going, and it actually broke a thread or two out. But because there are so many, I've never had an issue with leaking. So anyway, but it runs the risk of further damage to those threads. So I hope that that's not a problem that's consistent with other Nauka pens. And I just primed it a little bit because I don't want to have to, again, wait around to see if it will write when we do the writing sample, which we will do now. And we're using some nice cane filled paper. And let's see if this one got any without having to prompt it at all. This is the ASA. Oh, come on. Oh, it's going to need a little priming. Again, this isn't something you necessarily have to do. If I sat it upside down for just a little bit and worked with it, I'd be able to get it to start working. But again, I have not used these pens for some time. They've been quite dry for a while, so I'm trying to speed things up a little bit. So this is the ASA. Oh, come on. Come on, come on, come on. It's being shy. That or that feed is very, very dry. There we go. Okay. This is the ASA Galactic. And it has a, I believe it's a medium. We'll just say it's a medium. I don't know for sure. Medium steel nib. Also made by, marked ASA. It's probably made by Gamma. The ink is Daytone Turquoise. And this is a nice wet writing pen. Nice and wet. The nib is incredibly firm. There's no flex to it at all. You push harder on it, you'll get a little more ink and you'll dent the paper, but you will not do any more than that. Quick writing. Very, very smooth writer. And any noise you hear is just, a function of a pen on paper, but it feels glassy smooth. It's a very, very nice nib. In fact, I can't imagine a Yovo writing much better than this does, but, you gain with the Yovo, you gain, the ability to use cartridges or converters or whatever, and any issues you might have with an eyedropper are obviated because of the Yovo nib unit. But it's kind of fun to have an eyedropper with this thing completely full and seeing the ink slosh around inside of there. This is a very nice writing pen. I like it quite a lot. So that's the ASA Galactic, an acrylic demonstrator. And here we have the ASA Nauka, which I believe, and I don't know if it's in Hindi or whatever language it happens to be in, means boat, but is, again, we have a very dry one. Come on, fella. Let's get in there. Come on. Oh, there we go. This is the ASA Nauka. That's the Nauka, Nauka. And this one has a fine Gamma branded nib on it. And Gamma may be the company that made this pen as well. I'm not for sure. I don't know. And I didn't mention this, but there's another company out there that makes a very similar looking pen, and I don't know who came first, but Old Wind Pens out of Paris, they make a very similar designed pen with the same form factor of this torpedo shape, very smooth barrel, threads right at the end of the section. Whatever, it's a beautiful pen, and it's a beautiful design. The ink in this one is Daytone Emerald, and this is, obviously not my best writing. This too is a wet writer, not quite as wet because of the fine nib, but it does lay down a decent patch of ink. It is, again, very, very firm. If it looks like I'm getting some line variation, it's only because of more ink when you press harder. And again, some fast writing. And oh gosh. flawless. This has been a great pen. And I have a lot of pens that are eyedroppers. I have a lot of Indian pens, and this one is clear. It's one of my favorites. I've never had the burping issues with this one like I've had with so many of the others. I don't know why that is. Maybe just luck. I don't know. I know that the nib and everything are very tightly fitted in this. To work on these pens, to get the nibs and out and get the sections out, it's actually, it takes a lot of work, and you have to have a knockout block, and you have to be careful that you don't damage the ebonite's feeds. But if we're talking about great pens made in India, this one's right up there with me. For me, it's right up at the top for me. It's such a beautiful pen. And even though it's just plain black ebonite, it is just a sweet pen. It feels great in the hand. It's light. It's comfortable. Now, as far as posting, it will post and post securely, but again, it becomes so ridiculously long. It's as wide as my page. It hangs out of your hand a bit too much. And you don't really need to. And one of the things I worry about with pens like this that don't have a cap ring on an ebonite pen, if you force that in there, you could end up cracking it here. So I just never do. And it's so large that it fits in the hand so perfectly that you don't really need to post it. Never cross threads, just threads right in. Very, very smooth, great pen. And the Galactic too, and that's again another pen that you can post, and it does post incredibly securely, but it becomes again a beast and a very, very long pen. But everything is so light that it doesn't really matter. You can post it and write with it all day long if that's what you like, but it's so big that you don't really need to. It fits in the hand well. Both of them are fantastic writers. And by the way, this Daytona ink is quite nice too. Anyway, so that's a couple more pens in my collection. 3 down and about 260 to go. Anyway, I hope you like this quick review of the 2 ASA pens that I have, and I hope you have a good day.